Good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Power Hour. Tonight's episode,
Another episode. It's the season premiere.
it's the season premiere. That's right. We did the season finale. We were off a week. I'm all vacationed and ready to go. C-Red is back better than ever, and am I.
I
Card
never left.
subject to change. Our original title was The Filth King Cometh, but as we know in this business, the card is subject to change without warning. Unfortunately, Brubaker not available this evening. He's the Filth King, damn it. And the Filth King marches to his own drum. Things happen in this life and we move on. But that doesn't change the fact that the Power Hour still has a lot to do. So tonight you get a special episode anyway. You just get me and Red one-on-one.
What?
That's right. We don't have to interview anybody. We can just talk crap for the next hour. And we've got a lot to talk about, actually, because we've got the big CSW in the Heat of the Night show coming up this Friday night in Franklin Park. But we also
What's the name of the show?
It's called In the Heat of the Night.
In the heat of the night.
That's almost as
I
good.
got troubles on my mind.
Just give me 1 minute to get into TikTok so I can pull up Careless Whisper, because that made my life when I saw that. I have so many plans for that footage. You just have no idea. When you're just kind of looking at things and you come across something that spectacular, I'm just going to tease it now, but it's coming.
Whatever.
See, Red wasn't expecting that one, but that's why we do this.
I didn't know you saw it.
I see everything. I see it all. But we had a great time. For me, this past Saturday, returning to a company that I hadn't worked for in a great many years, I had a lot of different emotions and feelings going on about it. A lot of different people have a lot of different opinions about that promotion and the way things are, the way things were, and the way things will be. It got me to thinking, and I saw some social media posts by various people talking about promotions and promoters and rivalries and all the bad blood that goes on in this business. And, sometimes, you sit back and you wonder how necessary it all is.
It isn't.
So,
It isn't.
at this point, I've maintained this since I started. It always seemed to me like there was plenty of room in the pool for everybody to work. And, whether there's one promotion in the Lake Station or two, whether it's a promotion that used to be something else and has come back in a different way, whether it is whatever the bad blood is, it's professional wrestling. This is supposed to be fun for everybody. And, for the most part it is. But when stuff like this happens and you hear that, there's all kinds of negativity, it just seems like a lot of wasted energy to me, Red. And, you've been doing this a lot longer than I have. And, you have seen from back in the heyday when, if you showed up at another promotion, you might get got, so to speak.
Well, for us, it wasn't even about getting got. For us, we were told, we couldn't do other shows.
Right.
I mean, as far as going to other shows, again, whether it was right or wrong, I was a rebel. I've always felt I'm a grown ass man. You can't tell me how to spend my money.
You also can't tell you how to spend your time.
Well, that too. And I mean, I get it in some regards, just like, I mean, I get this whole thing. But, I think we are of the similar opinion. What's the difference if someone else isn't running that day? And, I mean, I get it. Here's the crazy part, right? Perfect example, Berwyn Eagles Club.
What
right?
a great venue.
Only one company used to run out of there, right? One company. Now everybody and they mama run out of there.
man. But it's such it. I mean, you've
I
worked
mean,
there.
I'm not saying it's a
Yeah.
bad building.
No, it's a
I
great building.
I
So much
love the
history.
building. My issue though is, am I to believe that everybody calls everybody, and hey, we're gonna run here and no, again, my thing is, if it's not messing with your dollars, what's the difference?
I think that's a fair point. It's funny when you mention a location, it makes you have a certain memory. And, I've only been to Berwyn twice. I saw a show there and I worked a show there. And the show that I worked at Berwyn Eagles Club was a very difficult show. I did not have the most fun that I've ever had at this particular show because a lot of liberties were taken at my expense, and it was not something that I was very happy about when all was said and done. Went home a little frustrated that night. So I don't want to make too much of that, but the show that I went to watch, whenever I hear someone say Berwyn Eagles Club, I always think about the greatest Red Fox impression that I ever saw, done by none other than C Red. You don't remember this. It was a charity show for a young lady's family,
Ah,
and Red was managing Miles, or maybe you were in a
I was,
tag match with Miles.
we were tag match.
Yeah,
We were
you were
tag.
tagging, and there were, it was a show for such a great cause for some really wonderful people paying tribute to a person that was near and dear to everybody who was working that show's heart. I never had the chance to meet that person, but you could feel the love in the room, and the matches were great, but they were all a little different because everybody was working, but they were having fun, and it wasn't it there was a different energy in the room than you would feel at most wrestling shows. Uh, and C Red took the opportunity to essentially do a tag team match while simultaneously doing stand up. And it was one of the funniest things I ever saw. And he literally, I don't think you knew I was going to be there. And I was sitting in the front row. And when you saw me, you went full on Red Fox. I'm coming to join you, honey. And every time when I walked into Berwyn that second show, I'm like, man, the last time I was here, C Red was Red Fox. So there's a good fun moment and memory for you
I
there,
mean,
Brad.
dude, every again, I think, you know, and again, like I said, I get it, but I think it's one of the things that keep us so divided, and I think it's nothing but ego at that point.
Yeah,
Um, you
it's a
know,
shame.
you know, uh, when I think of Berwyn Eagles Club for the longest, it was AAW.
Right.
No, I have no, I'm not, I don't work for them, so oh well. But that was their spot, you know, and then it became Shimmer, and I was a huge fan of Shimmer
Great promotion.
when it started. So like that's how I actually got to know Kong really good. Um, just the days of MySpace.
You still on MySpace, aren't you, Red?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't ever check it, but I'm there, So,
Gotta love that. You gotta love
but,
it.
but so I mean, but as time passed, other companies have, come and gone through Berwyn. Let's think of the legendary Milo Dome. Um, companies come, sporadic in and out of there. I just, I think again, if you're not running on the same night as somebody and you're not using their talent, you know, and the crazy part, it wasn't even the same building,
Right.
but yet, it's a big issue. And how many promotions run out of Chicago?
I think I'm in like four or five of them myself.
but I'm saying, you see what I'm saying?
A lot of them. There are a lot. You're absolutely right.
If we're gonna talk about territories, and we're talking about
Are there
towns.
still territories, Red? Is that still out there as a theme at this point?
Again, not that I know of.
But
Again, I
maybe
mean,
there are. Maybe
I'm
there are.
and I mean maybe they are, but I mean the silliness of that.
Is it like the Lake Station territory? Is that what it's supposed to be? Because that's the
I
first time
I
I've ever been to Lake Station. I mean, it was great. Thought the venue was.
mean
I thought the
I've been
crowd was
there.
very enthusiastic.
I've worked. I I worked at that company once, and then, but that was years ago when I was with Diamond. We worked a match there, but again, I haven't seen them run in months. I think they did run a show, but it wasn't there. I'm not sure. But again, nobody from their roster ran that night, was on that card, or our card, I should say. And, again, people want to get out, people want to get entertained. So,
Especially, it's been so long, since we've been in a situation where you don't have the specter of the pandemic. It's a lot better than it was. And,
yes,
masks and social distancing, while there are still cases where you will see it, it's not as prevalent as it was when we first started back after being on lockdown. So, when I go to the shows, especially when we did the when we do the CSW shows, it's fun to see the fans come out in full force, without face masks, with feeling comfortable to do it. And, there's a lot more enthusiasm when you aren't trying to be careful and protect yourself. And that's the way it was for a long time when we were doing the post pandemic shows, when we first started back with, like, 25% occupancy when we were doing the outside shows. That was a difficult thing because, you know, wrestling without the fans, you and I both know,
it
is
sucks.
it's a terrible thing. I mean, there are some
I
people.
mean, think about it like this, Steve. How bad does it suck when the fans don't show up?
It's terrible.
So think about it when they can't show up.
Yeah,
I mean,
I remember some of those CTW shows early on, when we would do it in the church, and the turnouts weren't spectacular, let's say. And I remember being, in the big room, and there handful of fans here and there, but it wasn't, any great number. And when some people came on board, and the booking changed, and the roster changed, the crowds got bigger, and I developed an expectation. But when you get the smaller crowds, I mean, sometimes smaller crowds are fun. You get in a smaller arena with a small crowd, and it can it can be fun and entertaining. But it's always nice to work in front of a packed house. One of the last CSW shows we did in Franklin Park, we were back at a point where the building was full, and people were standing in the back. There were that many people. And when you come out of that curtain to open the show, and get the people fired up, it's the most fun you can have, trying to fire up a crowd that wants to be fired up, and they're looking for a reason to have a good time, and you just deliver the goods. So it's so good to have the fans back. But like you said, if you're not using somebody's talent, if you're not using somebody's venue, what's the difference what town you run in? And like I said, the
like
rules
I,
the rules of wrestling, the old school rules of wrestling, you can't really say that they're outdated. I mean, you could, but people will argue about it because it's tradition. But some traditions, we might be able to take our foot off the gas every now and again, don't you think?
dude, I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna move on. The bottom line for me is this: um, one, you can't tell people where and how to spend their money.
Correct.
Two, again, unless you have a contract with a particular building that states, you know, no other wrestling organization shall be uh, placed in said building, you know. But again, I think, when we start looking at, oh, this is my city and this is, again, if anything, I think that should make you drive to make sure you have the better product, make sure you have the best. Um, I just think, again, people need to relax. There's, as you say stated, there's enough room in this pool for everybody. But people just have to, like you say, some of these things we just have to let go. So, with that being said, what did you think of Saturday's show?
Well, you know what? It's fun.
Because it was your first.
Yeah, it's funny. I was saying that before we went off on this topic. Um, you know, I was brought in kind of the last minute because the regular commentator, the articulator Steve Kenton, was out of commission. I believe somebody poisoned his sandwich, or I was watching the episode of Wednesday Night Wreckage in which he ate the sandwich, and the sandwich clearly didn't agree with him and robbed him of 3 days of his life. So that must have been a top notch additive that got put in his sandwich by who. I don't know if it was by Antoine 2.0, my partner that night, Cameron, or some other sinister force that might be at work in the darkness of the CTW
I
ranks.
don't like that dude.
Come on, he's all right. We'll
I
get to
don't
your.
like him.
We're gonna get to see Red's beef with Cameron in a minute. Um, I remember sitting behind the table, the announce desk, and getting set to go. And haven't worked with the CEO Jed for quite a while. A lot of he's a lightning rod for controversy. Some of it earned, some of it not. But you know, I thought he ran a fairly professional situation. I thought the show went on very smoothly. Like any show, there's always going to be a quirk or two.
Until the end.
Pardon?
Until the end.
Well, we're going to talk about that too. You know,
But that wasn't his fault.
no, 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 no. That was that was
But I see both sides, but
it was an
what
act of
happened still
God. You
wasn't his
know,
fault.
being they say you can't go home again, and a lot of people said I shouldn't go home again. But when you love this business and somebody gives you an opportunity to work, you can either take it or not. And every time I get a chance to work is a chance for me to get better and improve and work with people that make me better and want to improve. And I get new experiences from different angles. So very rarely will I say no to somebody that says, "Hey, can you do this for me?" As a matter of fact, while we were waiting for Brubaker this evening, I was doing some matches from other promotions that I didn't attend, but they called me up and said, "Hey, can you do our commentary for us?" So I'm standing here
Oh
looking at
wow.
the laptop, screaming at the top of my lungs and frightening my family. But I gladly do it because it gives me a chance to improve and get better. And that's what we all want. We all want to be better. Um, so Crash Tested started, and it felt different than Crash Tested previous. I mean, it's different. It's clearly not the same promotion. I mean, that's understood. It's a completely different set of circumstances and people. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the locker room. I thought they were great. I've never worked in a locker room where Marche Rocket is that isn't a good locker room. He is a mentor and a leader, as you well know. And I thought the matches were great. I thought a lot of the young CSW superstars that are working there showed up and showed out. I thought Cody James and AJ Flyer was a fantastic match. I thought Chris Miller brought his A game, and it was only the second time I'd seen Michael Pierce work, and I thought he did great, especially that Vader-esque move he did off the top rope and hit Miller with. I thought was pretty impressive. So, there are a lot of great things that happened at this show. One of the hottest matches was the one that opened the show between Mike Strong and Marshe Rockett to start off the tournament. Mike Strong, a lot of people have a lot of different opinions. He's not the tallest guy, he's not the strongest guy, but that man can move. And that man does things in a ring, and his quickness is unbelievable. And he gave Marshe Rockett, who is one of the top at this point in the sport for me, and he gave him what for. And that was not an easy win for Marshe Rockett. Marshe Rockett got pushed to his limits. I've seen Marshe Rockett fight Luchasaurus. I've seen Marshe Rockett fight all kinds of people. Mike Strong gave him a match that he wasn't expecting, or he was expecting, but it was great. And the show went, and it was very entertaining. We had that match. I wasn't aware that you were going to be at this show. And we had the match with a man named Rage versus Mr. Hollywood, 100% pure gold, I believe was his moniker. David Slater took on Rage. And all of a sudden I get handed a card that says Rage is going to be led to the ring by the urban sensation C-Red. And I'm like, oh my God, Red's here. So you come out and dancing like only Red can dance. And, you were doing C-Red things, and, the match, C-Red does C-Red. Nobody does C-Red better than C-Red. And the match ended in a victory for Rage. There was shenanigans. Slater stole Sean Danger's jug. Sean Danger came and reacquired his property, giving Rage an opportunity to take the win. But I found after the match was over, when my partner grabbed the stick, you get caught up in the magic of C-Red when you work the mic at a show. And that promo cut through everybody in Lake Station. That wasn't wrestling. That wasn't reality. That was life. Can you take me back to that moment when you dropped that bomb on the building and, took no prisoners and put my colleague that night, Cameron, on notice?
Dude, well, I had, I'm trying to manage. So I'm trying to focus on getting Rage to the win. But I keep hearing behind me Cameron doing all this lip service. And
he was trying to old lion, young lion you.
I don't know what he was trying to do. I really don't.
I'm like, who that is, right?
But I even forget how he worded the comment.
He basically suggested you retire, I think was one of the jabs.
No, I mean the last one. I think he asked, "Well, why was I even there?" Or
yes,
and
you told him. You told him. You told him why you were there.
I told everybody. So nobody. I'm not gonna say nobody, but a few people know. So Chicago Vocational High School has produced some of the which I consider the best in this independent pro wrestling. So everybody that came out of CVS, you have Lower Cassius XL, you have Atlas Horn, the incredible Atlas Horn, you have Acid Jazz, you have Crystal Carmichael, now Crystal White, um, you have Rage, you have TL Money, and you have myself. Me and Rage actually started high school together, and we graduated together. So, uh, 30, 30, whatever years plus ago. So when your friend calls you and asks for your help over 30 something years, you don't just say, and nah, you know, you say, okay, what can I do? Considering he felt he was screwed over, per se,
Yeah,
out
that
of the
I was
tournament.
not at that first event, so I did not see that live, but I heard Cameron talking about it.
So, I mean, considering he felt he was screwed, he wanted to make sure that didn't happen again. So he wanted somebody that he could trust to watch his back. And me and Rage was also part of uh, a stable I created called VIP.
Talented guy too. He hit every move.
Yeah, even some moves he wasn't supposed to that we had no idea. Like, really, dude? So when your friend calls you, dude, and I guess Cameron doesn't have any real friends,
Well,
just
he's got Mikey Blue Balls or
just from the
balls
look of
or
that
whatever.
suit, no, because if he
Some
had
guy
any,
didn't show up with the balls in his name.
if
They
he
kept looking for balls all night. He never found his balls. I don't
if he had a real friend, they would have told him that suit was ugly as shit.
think. Someone
But
actually said he outdressed me. I didn't. He had that nice gold thing. I don't have one of those, but he's
anyway, so yeah, I mean, I was there, and I was there to watch my friends back, and like you said, uh, is it where we were years ago? Um, no, um, but also I'm on the other side of that coin. I'm to the point where I want to help younger talent, you know. Um, so wherever I go, I just feel, my job is to try to help younger talent. And again, not necessarily with their move sets and you know uh, how to wrestle, but if I watch your match and you stink, I'm gonna tell you you stink. But I'm also gonna tell you why. What you did. I'm not gonna just crap all over you. I've seen some veterans. That's what they do. They just crap over young talent, and that's not me. I want everybody to succeed. I've always stated, I want everybody to go as far as they can go in this business. So whether it's, locally, nationally, globally, I support everybody. My biggest issue though is I just want people to have a realization. Not everybody's going to make it on TV. You know,
nope.
that's like NFL, in the NBA, baseball, whatever. Whatever your favorite sport is. You know, think about all the kids that have dreams of playing professional ball somewhere, and it doesn't happen. You know, so
Like that guy on your shirt. I mean, he might have made it. I wished he didn't.
oh, you mean, yeah, that guy, with the, whoo, look at all those rings.
Look at all that.
Um, so I mean, I had fun, and I think again the company, first of all, dude, can we not talk about me and let's talk about what happened at the end,
Yeah, we're
because
going to talk about,
that
but
because
I want to say one more thing real quick about the rage match and you. For 8 years, I have occupied a commentary seat, and I have seen C Red in a great number of matches, whether it be managing or wrestling. And I always enjoy the way you have a chameleon like approach to your job. And it's interesting because the C Red that comes out with the ARC, the C Red that comes out with the Soul Touches, the C Red that comes out on his own, and then the C Red I saw this past weekend. It's like different people in many ways. And I've always found that intriguing. It's like you have different characters you play in different situations. And the amount of exuberance and the amount of joy you had at ringside managing is very different than the Sea Red that is patrolling ringside for CCW when the ARC is involved. It's just a different feel. And which is why I think you have lasted so many years doing this, because you are a character that fits so many different situations and circumstances, and you have such a command of what you do, that it's just, it's, I've always been a fan of yours, but that's why I am, because you're so savvy about what's going on around you that you cater your performance to the show that you're at. And I don't think a lot of people do that. I think, sometimes people just come out, they are who they are. But C-Red is different in the fact that he is who they need him to be. And I think that's important.
I appreciate that. But of course, you're going to get a different version, I guess you could say, of Red.
The Many
The
Faces of C-Red should be a
you
that
know,
should be the name of your book.
didn't Mick Foley do that?
That was the Faces of Foley. We're adding the word
Oh,
many, so we're not
oh,
infringing any copyrights.
cool. I just again Saturday was personal. It was just personal, Again, ARC business is ARC business. Soul Touches business is Soul Touches business. And when I'm solo, it's Red's business. So I mean, every situation is different. Uh, don't get it twisted. I'm I don't have glass stained eyes. Um,
No, you leave that to me.
I know, right? It's to me, it's about the fans. So one of my biggest pet peeves is guys that just stand there and they just stand there, and uh, there's no interaction, and either the fans pay to come see you, or either they want to love you or they want to hate you. One of the two. It's that's why they're there,
Yep.
you know. So if you give them no reason to do neither, then why are you there? I think you're wasting space. So I'm just gonna say that. I don't care if you're the sharpest dresser or you wear, a dead wolf around your neck.
Or a cape.
Well, you said it, I didn't, So
I love you, big business.
you know, and he means that with a little C and a hash mark. But dude, let's talk about the end
You want to talk
now.
about personal. So to set the stage, uh, the CEO of Crash Tested Wrestling had reached out many times to the reigning CTW champion, Brubaker, the Filth King, who was supposed to be our guest this evening and was unable to do the show tonight, but we'll have him on soon, I'm sure. Um, and, like I said, the Filth King marches to the beat of the Filth King's drum. Nobody dictates what Nick Brubaker does but Nick Brubaker. So as professional as the CEO was, he was not able to get in touch with the Filth King to confirm a title opportunity. So we had the tournament that was supposed to be for the number one contender, but the gears got shifted, and suddenly there is the presentation of a new Crash Tested Wrestling Championship belt. And that final match, Marche Rocket versus Cody James, instead of being the finals for number one contender, ended up being a championship match. And that was a hard hitting, brutal match in which Cody James basically took Marche Rocket and threw him like a bowling ball through 5 rows of crowd, literally knocking over chairs as Marche rolled onto the concrete floor. And the chops, Marche Rocket's chops, we both know are a freak of nature, a divine intervention, an act of God, if you will, when they make contact. And Cody James absorbed many a chop. And it was out on the ring. It was out of the ring on the side of the ring. It was everywhere. They went onto the tables in the back of the venue. It was a match filled with chaos. I couldn't see half of it to call it. But in the end, Marche Rocket from out of nowhere, and that's the magic of Marche Rocket. He can hit that M80 in a millisecond, and he did, and he won the brand new Crash Tested Wrestling title. So as Jed is presenting the title, uh, you could say all hell broke loose, and it did, as I almost stroked out on commentary, because who walks through the door? The reigning CTW champion, Brubaker, crashed Destiny Bound Night 2 and said, whoa, 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 whoa. Why is he holding my belt? I'm the champion. He brought the original McCoy, the original crash tested belt, and he was wearing that strap over his shoulder proudly. So, as you saw, as I saw, as the fans in Lake Station saw, Brubaker has no fear. Brubaker has few equals. He saunters into the ring and does something that very few people do and get away with, and that gets right in the face of All Day Marche Rocket and says, "You're not the champ. You're a chump. I'm the champ." Well, them's what you call fighting words. And C Red knows Marche Rocket better than any human, except maybe Mrs. Rocket. And Red, what happened after that? Because I think I was in a diabetic shock at that point.
Dude, first of all, don't say that. Um, dude, let's put this all into context. I'm watching, which we found out to be the finals. Um, and I'm sitting there, and yes, I'm biased. I'm sitting there cheering for Marche, but I'm off by myself, and I'm not sitting close to you, no fans, and I'm just sitting by myself. And first of all, I applaud Cody. Uh, Dude gave it to Marche. There was this one forearm he gave Marche, and
I
oh
remember
my
that.
God,
He absolutely cleated him.
I thought like somebody had let a shotgun off in the building. Like it was like wow. I was like,
It,
oh,
as many personal
so
differences I have with Cody, he is phenomenal talent, and they don't make him like that much anymore. And he's going to have a great career. He's not on my good side right now, but what an athlete!
true. So Marche out of nowhere, bam. Okay, one, two, three. All right. Ring announcer announces, and the winner of the match
Just Jenny
is,
on
yeah,
point.
she did a great job. Um, Marche Rocket, and I even saw like a couple of fans at that point. They were like, "Oh, okay, the show is over with." But then here comes the CEO. He walks out, and he has a new belt, and he announces, that uh, he wanted to keep it under wraps. He didn't want, to let either competitor know. He wanted them to just fight for that chance. Well, Marche won that chance, and Marche won the CTW title.
He did.
But now, so again, I'm sitting there, right? And I'm clapping. But then there's this blur that walks past me, right? And I look up and it's Brubaker. And I'm like, wow, okay. And he's got the title. He's got the original CTW title. And poor Turtle, the CEO sends Turtle out, as the referee. Hey, and before Turtle could say a word, Brubaker laid him out. And at that point, so I know both guys, but I didn't think it was my business to get in the middle of this, and it had nothing to do with me. So I picked up Turtle. Because otherwise Turtle would probably Turtle might still be laying there today if I hadn't picked him up.
He was like the turtle on the back, stuck on the back.
Right, they couldn't get up on the shelf. Like, right. Next thing I know, words are exchanged and they go on the blows. Like, they didn't care about them belts.
It escalated quickly. And
dude, and I had to, again, I saw Marche, was not gonna say restrained, but we just needed to, separate for a minute, you know, and oh my God, the next thing I know, I'm just not even restraining Brubaker. I'm just like, dude, stop. And I feel like, you know, you've been on the plane before. You hear it when it's getting ready to land.
yeah,
And I heard that sound. I'm like, but I'm not at midway. So why am I hearing this sound? Well, it's all day Marche flying through the air and crashing on my back.
That's called collateral damage, is what that is.
Clearly, I was.
He wasn't intending to get you, but the thing about it is, it's an interesting dynamic. There, you've got Marche Rocket, no stranger to gold, been decorated many times, but he worked his ass off to get that belt. He went through many competitors to get that belt. Man had 2.5 matches that night to get that belt. So Marche was looking to celebrate and take a moment to enjoy the spoils of his victory. And Brubaker said, I'm the champ. So what you have is you have the past running headlong into the present in a collision that, and when commentary, when they run that back, all you're going to hear is me screaming like an idiot. My God, it's the Filth King. My God, it's the Filth King. I must have said it 60 times because the shock was unbelievable. I myself, on the CEO's behalf, reached out to Brubaker earlier in the day because obviously I work with him multiple places, trying to see if he was going to show up, and even I couldn't get a hold of him. And then all of a sudden, there he is in all of his Filth King splendor, and the crowd took a what's going to happen now? And there's that moment in the ring where both men are standing with their belts raised. And that's one of those moments you don't see too often. That was a moment that is going to be frozen in my mind, frozen in time for a long time to come. Regardless of what happens August 8th at Destiny Reborn, those two are going to go at it. I've seen Marche and Brew fight before. Their matches are spun gold. But this one's going to be different because It's a champion versus champion slash unification match. Two titles going in, one title is the result. There'll be one champion. Will it be the Filth King? Will it be All Day? That's for fate to decide. And that's August 8th in Lake Station.
Dude, this is one match. If I would literally pay to see. Again, you've got to remember, I've been with Marche forever. Him and Brew are no strangers to each other.
Nope.
And see, here's the thing about Brew. You talk about me being the chameleon. Oh no. The Filth King is the king of being said chameleon. I've we have worked in promotions where literally he has hugged Marche, told Marche he loves him, and all the while he has pulled the knife out and literally tried to stab Marche in the back. I've been there. I've seen it. So do I understand business? I do. I understand that the CEO should have tried harder to get confirmation. He just should have. Um, but at the same time, Brew has not been beaten. He is still the CTW champ, but now so is Marche. So August 8th. Whew, um, that's you know I don't know what else needs to be shown or said. You
Well,
know,
Brubaker is a lightning rod. He is one of the most polarizing figures in professional wrestling today, one of the most dangerous men to strap up boots. This is true. And he's going to be tested this Friday night. And
I was getting ready to ask you, is he gonna make it to August 8th?
that's the question. And we've got this little bit for you to see. And if you want intense and you want drama, then come to Franklin Park Friday night and see this.
Damn, son, where'd you find this? He spit some sort of substance in the eyes of the champion, and he paid it on. What the heck was that? He won the title. At the end of a 2-year title reign, it's the
Dude,
If that doesn't fire one up to see a wrestling show on a Friday night in the good city of Chicago, then I don't know what will. This is a Chicago street fight. This is the Filth King, Brubaker. This is the Ice Pick, Vic Capri. These are legendary people and purveyors of violence. And they are coming together to end a 2-year feud. And I have been smack dab in the middle of this feud,
Yes, you have.
as you could see. And it all comes down to Friday night, and I'm nervous. I'm apprehensive. Bad things can happen. And when you have a street fight, Red, as you well know, being from the streets of Chicago, there are no rules,
None.
no right, no wrong. Everything is a shade of gray. And it's going down just like that video said it was going to this Friday night as CSW presents In the Heat of the Night. And what a
Dude.
collision that's going to be. So this man is the most dangerous man in pro wrestling because he invades CTW, throwing his championship weight around, and gets in a collision course with All Day Marche Rocket. While just a few weeks before that is going to engage in a Chicago street fight against one of the most violent men in this sport in Vic Capri. Nick Brubaker, if he survives these matches and retains championship gold, might be the most amazing performance one man's ever done in this business, Red. And I'm not lying.
Dude, I'm not even worried. See, you're focusing on titles. Let's break Friday night down. Chicago, right? CSW, right? Let's we had Vic on here last season, correct?
We did.
All of this stemmed. Vic had an injury.
A bad one.
A bad one, a horrible one.
A career ender for most people.
For most. He had to relinquish
He did.
that title. He never was beat for that title.
And
Correct?
he holds me accountable for that.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, in miraculous fashion, Ice Pick comes back. Correct?
Stronger than before, which is next to impossible.
And more pissed off.
At me.
Just period. Now, he's aligned himself with some people. Correct?
The absolute answer, Nick Cutler, and now the mini package, and the monster known as Cypher, they are the Burning.
And if I'm correct, now I haven't been in CSW in a while, but it's been the Dope Kings, the Filth King, and he's dope.
CJ Barzan.
Right, I know CJ, but I'm trying to get his moniker in.
He is the most dope.
The most dope. Okay. So, but didn't they just put him through some chairs?
That's what you saw in that video was Cypher and Cutler double choke slamming him through two steel chairs as I watched from ringside in horror. I gave in to him, gave him the match, and he still dropped CJ through those chairs.
Now, anybody know anything about the spine? It's resilient yet very sensitive.
Yes.
Think about it. Just found out today that a good friend of ours, we didn't know that I think he said his F6 was cracked for a long time. He didn't even know it. So it's fragile. So the question is CJ even able to walk at this point? Because here's the thing. Days from now, it's a Chicago street fight. And as you say, yes, I am from the streets. I guarantee you, the Burning will be somewhere in the building.
Nope.
What?
Nope.
You banned them?
They are banned from the city.
Wow.
If they come within the city limits, and I will have local law enforcement at the city limits, if Cypher or Cutler come anywhere near Pacific Avenue and that hall, Vic Capri forfeits his title opportunity, he forfeits the match, and he is fired.
Look at you.
I ain't playing.
Look at you, grew some cojones. What?
This
So
the
it's
street
one
fight,
on one.
it's one on one, and that's what the fans deserve. That's what this company deserves, and that's my job to give it to them.
Wasn't that
And if
my
I
last
don't, if I
Saturday?
don't give it to them, I might as well quit, retire, and walk away.
Okay, but I thought that was my phrase Saturday. But whatever, dude.
I learned the
Um,
best.
I don't know how you're gonna control this. Because I don't. I don't. If I was you, I would tell fans not to sit. Maybe in the first two rows. I don't know. This will not be a headlock, drop kick, body slam match. I think this is going. It ain't even gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a brawl. See, a fight is, okay, take my best shot and you take your best shot, and I see two men trying to kill each other. And I mean, again, like I said before, I understand Nick's point being the CTW champion. I kind of understand the ice picks. Like I told him, he was never beat.
Never beat.
Now I get it. Your job is GM, and I told you you do a horrible job, but
Yeah.
that's not tonight. That's not tonight. Um, you know, maybe you should have gave him some time or whatever. But I understand you had to do what was best for the company. I understand that. It's about the company. You know, so Nick won the title. I get that, but Vic feels slighted.
He does.
And Vic is like that rabbit dog that you have left and locked in a cage. The only water it gets is from the rain. It knows it has no friends. The owner doesn't come out to check on him. You know, it visually can see other people, you know, and Vic has, you let that you finally let that dog out that cage, it's gonna attack somebody. You can only push so long. Trust me, I know. True story. Had a Rockwaller. Kids would walk up and down the alley and they would throw rocks at my rock. And they felt because he couldn't get out, he was no threat. Until one day,
He got out.
well, I was warming up my car to go to work, and there was a screen door, and I closed it.
Operative term was.
Yeah,
There
because
was a screen door.
he saw, well, no, there was a screen. Um, he saw one of the kids, and literally, as I'm grabbing the handle to walk back in the house, he runs through the screen and attacks the kid. Now, he didn't bite him, but he grabbed his scarf, grabbed a hold of it with his mouth, slung that kid on the ground, and this kid had to be like 130, you know. And when he got him on the ground, he stood over top of him, mouth salivating, like he was ready to take a chunk out of this kid. And if I hadn't, again, I train dogs, or at least Rottweilers. I know how to train them pretty good. If I hadn't got him to where I needed him and got him back in the house, and I didn't have to touch him, from that point forward, none of those kids threw rocks, and they never walked past my house. They walked in the street. They understood we don't mess with him. That's Vic right now.
Well,
Vic is it's not about you. I mean, it's about you, but it's not about you.
I get you.
It's about That was mine. I never lost it. Nobody ever pinned my shoulders to the mat for it.
It's true.
I want what's mine. Nick, I mean, is Brubaker is just, the unfortunate part. This would have happened to anybody that had won that tournament, whether it be Steve Bias, TJ Steele, uh, Corey James, Cody James, Miller, Marche,
Wrestling.
S Jazz, anybody on the roster, whoever would have won that tournament, that's who Vic would have been going after.
Yeah, it's true. You've got the most dangerous man in wrestling in the Filth King. You've got the most violent man in wrestling in Vic Capri, set to be involved in a match with no rules, no disqualification, just violence. It's a purveyance of violence, and violence will occur. But it's the only way. It's the only way to end it, because one of them is going to have to lose, one of them is going to have to win, and the one that loses probably isn't going to be able to walk out of the venue.
But
It
here's the question: will it be over? And here's why I say that. And just as advice from friend to friend tonight, CJ still got hurt. You don't think Brew was thinking about that?
I know he's thinking about it.
So when CJ is able to come back, you don't think he's gonna want some part of the burning?
He
Um,
probably will.
do you think if just by some chance Brew walks out Friday, still champ, do you think that rabbit dog is done? Do
Well,
you think Vic Capri and the burning are just gonna sit by? Because I think now more than ever, it's actually a lose-lose situation. Because
it might be.
if God forbid the ice pick does not win, and I'm not picking, don't ask me tonight to pick a winner. I'm not. I'm telling you now. Kill that noise. But God forbid Vic does not win. The burning, I have a feeling, would set fire to everything in CSW.
Well,
I think no title, no champion will be safe until you decide again to do it again. I just don't think Vic is going to be happy until he has that title back around his waist.
sometimes when you have a rabid dog, you only have one option, and that's to put him down. So
Yeah, but
Friday night, we're gonna
did
see.
you not watch Cujo? They tried to do that.
They did. Uh,
Didn't work.
That's a fun. That's a good reference too. Also happening Friday night, you've got Mateo Valentine taking on the beautiful one Ryan Matthews in what might very well be the first ever
Dude,
beauty supply match.
I heard. Oh my God! So I read that, and I thought my diabetic eyes were playing tricks on me.
Nope.
Like I thought that was a typo.
Nope.
Like I thought your office typed that out too quick.
Nope.
Beauty supply match, huh?
Indeed.
Okay.
Stay tuned for that one, folks. That's going to be special.
Wigs and hair rollers and night cream.
It's gonna be a peach indeed. Also fighting will be Jake from wrestling, defending the Metro Division title versus the monster, the demon known as Hades X1X. Hades has basically run through the entire roster, but he's never run up against somebody like Jake. So, as much as we're talking about Capri and Brubaker, this match is very interesting as well.
But Hades X. Okay, so you said Hades X has never faced somebody like Jake
Hades
Rush.
X1X.
X1X 11/21, whatever the number is, damn it. Um, but has Jake ever faced anybody like Hades
No.
X1? I feel like, what are we, Muslim or something? Anyway, um, I just right, like I feel like he should come out with Being Pie, my brother. Um, I think I don't know. Me personally, I'm gonna go with Haiti X1X.
Hades is a bad, bad
And the
monster.
reason why I'm saying that is again, just you went to hate Hades has never faced Jake, someone like Jake, but I don't think Jake has faced anybody anywhere like Hades X1X.
That is a true story. And then, of course, you have the pending collision between the Bruce Brothers and CNC. CNC Destruction won the titles.
They did what?
They won the titles.
They did what?
They won the titles.
Who predicted that?
You did. The Bruce
And
Brothers.
it's the rematch, huh?
The Bruce Brothers deserve. They were not pinned in that four-way. So we will see what happens. There are a lot of people still going to be there, a lot of matches to be announced. We will
What
do
you
it.
waiting on? What is your oh? You got the slowest office.
We do it. It's the slow burn, see, Red. You know about the slow burn. It's the slow jams. It's the dusties.
Dude, this ain't nothing like the Dusties.
It's like the dusties.
Nothing.
Can't get
All I'm saying is
babe.
your press secretary, you need to get on them because like today is Tuesday.
We
They
still
only got 2 days to get people
we
hyped.
still got a few days to go. We still got a whole locker room full of wrestlers with assignments Friday night. It's going to be great. Join us, Pacific Avenue. CSW presents In the Heat of the Night. If Brubaker, if Brubaker survives, he will make it to August 8th. CTW, Marche Rocket, Destiny Reborn. Red, we managed, even though the card was subject to change, we managed.
That's the name of the show. Card subject to change.
Did a whole power hour, just us.
Dude, I've told you we could do.
Aren't we that
before.
interesting that we could do a whole hour?
Well, I don't know if we're that interesting, but it's the fact that honestly, we couldn't have picked a better week, unfortunately. Um, Coming out of what happened Saturday night,
It gave us a chance to really reflect on it.
and then going into what's getting ready to happen Friday night.
You might be right. Sometimes things happen for a reason. Card is always subject to change, but the show must go on.
And ladies and gentlemen, this show tonight, first of all, dedicated to the great one, Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff. Orndorff, um, God rest your soul and God bless to your family. Also, to Charlie Robinson. I know a lot of you guys don't know who Charlie Robinson is. It's probably before your time, but he was a great actor that played on Night Court. I grew up watching Night Court.
Charles Robinson was a great character actor.
Dude,
He played Mac, man. I love Night
dude,
Court.
Mac make that show. To me, him and Marsha Winfield make that show.
Marsha Wood. Oh, she was so good.
Dude,
Larroquette. Come on, you got to give Larroquette some love. Dan Fielding.
he
Don't
was
even,
a
don't even
butthole.
do that
I
right
mean, he was good, but
Dan
he was a
Fielding left
butthole.
that show, for Christ's sake.
He was a butthole. So you were
What the
supposed
best
to.
butthole?
He played the heel role perfect.
He was the Steve Red of Night Court.
But dude, the one-liners between Mac and Marsha,
Oh, they were great.
they were on point.
Another thing we love together. It's another thing. Yet another thing that brings us together.
So also we did this show tonight for you guys. Not for us. Let me shoot for a second. I have a life.
As do I.
Steve has a life. But we do this because we love you guys.
We do.
Whether it's one guy watches the show, 20, 30, 5,000, I don't know.
God, wouldn't that be great if
Uh,
5,000 people? Maybe in England they do. I don't know. We'll have to ask
maybe.
John Scott.
Yeah, let's talk to
By the
him.
way,
But
congratulations to John Scott as he nears his 200th episode of his podcast.
wow.
What an achievement. I was 190. I was guest 190. I'm proud to be on that
I'm
list.
still trying to figure out why I ain't been on the show. John, what's the problem?
We'll talk to John. John's got to experience C-Red.
But yeah, to all you guys, we thank you guys. Please continue to watch the Power Hour, because we do it for you guys. And yeah, most nights we have guests.
And we have a great one next week.
Who we got next? Hold on, what's next Tuesday? Okay, so who we got next?
Tuesday, June 20th, next week on the Power Hour, we get a visit from my old nemesis and an old friend of C-Red's, the Vanilla Gorilla, Johnny Wild.
Really?
Johnny Wild going to be here on this show.
We couldn't. Ladies and gentlemen, next week we'll be doing our second episode all alone, just Steve and I. So,
Johnny Wild will be here.
not if I can help.
The Vanilla Gorilla.
No.
On behalf of the urban sensation C-Red and myself, Steve Aaron, we will catch you next week on the Power Hour. We are out. Don't miss CSW in the heat of the night this Friday night in Franklin Park. And also don't miss August 8th, Lake Station, CTW Destiny Reborn. Good night, everybody.